And now I want to introduce you to the 6 building blocks of habits and habit creation. The first building block is a trigger. So you can imagine your day as a chain of things that you do. So you get up, then you do a certain thing, then you do a certain thing, then you might go to work, then you do a certain thing, and so on. And you maybe come home from your workday, or you close your computer because your workday is done. And then there's a next step, a next step, a next step. So in this slide, your whole day is like a chain of things, of actions, of influences, of triggers. And when you want to create a new habit, it's a very good idea to think about a trigger that you can use as a starting point for this habit. And then you can just add another chain link to something that's already in your life. For example, it could be getting up out of the bed, or maybe coming home from your work, or maybe brushing your teeth, or all other habits that are happening in your life on a regular or even daily basis. So let's say I want to meditate. Then I could say, well, the trigger for me is getting out of my bed. And when I get out of my bed, I sit on my meditation pillow and start to meditate. So that would be the trigger. That's step number 1. The second building block is the habit itself. So what do you want to establish in your life? And when you followed this video and the exercises, you already have a list with certain things, or maybe even just one thing that you want to establish. Also, one thing is completely fine. Building block number 3 is to think about the result. And once again, we are talking about your vision and why you actually have this goal in the first place, and why you want to establish this habit in the first place. And this motivation that is coming through thinking about this is something internal, because when you really ran through this process I described to you, this vision is something that's really coming from you, from your inside, and from inside and inside. And then you don't have to think about how to motivate you, because it's something that you want. And once again, this shows to me how powerful, important it is to really deepen your understanding about who you are, what life is, what God, what the universe is, and about how all of those are connected. Because the deeper this understanding inside of you gets, the more clarity you feel, the more you just know where you want to go. And then it's more and more and more and more intrinsic, and more powerful and motivating to do the things to move towards this goal, towards this vision, and to create those habits. And we also already talked about visualization. And also here, this is really powerful, and to visualize where you want to go and why you want to go there, and to think about this result, and then really just realize for yourself that it's a great idea to implement this habit and to put this effort and this energy and this attention into the creation of this habit. That's building block number 3. Building block number 4 is a reward. And for me personally, doing the things that are important for me and creating the time and the space and the energy for those is already a very, very big reward. And I'm always grateful for myself when I once again have done something that's maybe uncomfortable and that's bringing me forward. to where I want to be, and where I, maybe overcame some resistance or even fear in order to be able to do this, and through doing this. And this is like an intrinsic level of reward. Some people like also to add, an outer level of reward, so to speak. For example, to treat themselves to something that they really like. For example, to drinking a nice drink afterwards, like a kombucha or a sparkling water, after they did, let's say, their meditation or their new habit. Or I heard of people who treat themselves to dinner after a week of successfully doing their new habit. And you can really be creative and think about how you could reward yourself for doing this new habit, and add this extra level of fun and also motivation on top of your intrinsic motivation. Building block number 5 is tracking. And in the whole module about goals and goal setting, we already touched on how important tracking is and measuring is, and how much energy and power it creates just to check in and to be accountable to yourself, or maybe even to somebody else. And when it comes to habits, I love to use this habit tracker that you can see here, and that I will also add below this video as a PDF that you can download and then use. And I really, really do this on a daily basis and check in if I've done a certain habit or not. And at the end of a month, I calculate how persistent I was. And my goal is to have an 80% success rate, so that I did this new habit on 80% of those days. And I just know from experience that when I do this, things will move and things will change in a really, really drastic way. So this is a really, really important step. And I always like to think about pilots, and that they have to, do their checklist and to really cross off everything before they are starting the plane, or like starting to fly the plane. And that they have to do this every time, every day for their whole career. And that you could say, well, isn't that a little bit controlling, and a little bit, is this really necessary? And it is. And it was proof that even for pilots who are extremely, extremely skilled people, this is lowering the rate of accidents in an extreme way, like more than 40%, if I remember it right. And the same applies to surgeons. So I think if those people use checklists, and if it's just shown that these checklists really help, then checking in with yourself on your habits is just a good idea. And trust me, it will change something in your life on a very profound and positive level. And the 6th and last building block of habit creation is planned simplicity and under challenge. And here it's about to make this change that you want to do in your habits as small as possible. And I always love this story of somebody who wanted to start flossing his or her teeth. And this person started to floss one tooth, and one tooth only, for a whole week. And after this week, this person started to floss 2 teeth, then maybe the whole upper row of teeth. And then after a while, this person added some teeth in the lower row, and then maybe at one point, this person flossed all his or her teeth. And this is such a funny story to me, and it's so innocent in a way, and it's so powerful. And this person just understood that change is easier if it's small, and that we tend to stick two things after we got used to it, and that it also shifts our identity. And at one point, you, if you do that, start to believe that you are somebody who is flossing his or her teeth. And from then on, it gets even easier to create this habit all the way down and really stick to it. And another example are fitness studios. And, this famous kind of stereotype already that people are signing up on the 1st of January and then are dropping out somewhere in January or February and never go to the gym again, but pay for their yearly membership anyway. And usually those people didn't do anything before, no sports, and then they say, well, I'm committing from now on to go to the gym 5 times a week for 5 hours. That's, of course, extreme and a little bit over-exaggerated, but it shows that this kind of drastic change is not really sustainable, and that the likelihood that you will not follow through is just very high. And this is something I always have to remind myself for myself when I create new habits, and where I say, well, I could just, commit to doing this new habit for 25 minutes a day. And then I catch myself and I know, well, even 25 minutes every day is kind of a big time window, and the likelihood that I will not follow through after a few days or weeks is just high. So why not start with doing it for 5 minutes every day? And when I have done this for a month, I can, make it bigger and bigger and bigger, and just ease myself into this new habit. So also this under challenge part is really, really important. And also the simplicity. So when I want to create a new habit, it's a great idea to have the things in place and easily accessible, and that I can just do the habit when I want to do it. Because if I first have to, let's say, get my sport clothes together and then think about how I actually get to the gym and all those things, then I will not do it, especially not on a day where I'm already, not kind of motivated at all. But if it's easy to do, if everything is in place, if everything is prepared, then the leap is just a little bit smaller, and the likelihood that I do it even on a day where I might be not so motivated is even higher. And something that came to mind about this is also that, especially on the days where you are like, I'm not feeling it today. And on the days where you think about if you want to do it at all or not, especially those days are so important, because on those days you actually grow the most if you just do it. I experienced it many times in sports that I thought, well, today's maybe not a day. And when I then did it and did my yoga or went to the gym, I grew so much on this day. And it also can be just the one repetition that you add at the end. And just do that one more repetition, even if you're already almost giving up. And of course, it's important to listen to your body and to your system and to be honest with yourself. And there might be days where it's just a better idea to not exercise, for example. But from my experience, in the majority of the time, it's more my intellect telling me like a bullshit story why I can't do it. And to also develop this sensitivity for yourself, just to know, okay, this feels like I'm sabotaging myself a little bit, and this feels like, well, that's my inner wisdom, and just telling me to rest, to have this sensitivity, to make this distinction is also really helpful. And this is something you also develop over time through doing the thing and through action and through reflection. These are the 6 building blocks of habits and habit creation. And I condensed as much of information and knowledge into those 6 blocks as possible. Knowledge that I, for example, learned from reading books like Atomic Habits or different things about, habit and habit creation. And I really invite you to go through those steps and to, decide on what new habit you want to create, and then to fill it into this habit tracking sheet and commit to it for 30 days and then see how it goes. And of course, in the light of under challenge and simplicity, start with 1 new habit and just do that one, and not with 12 new habits or even more, because this change again will be too drastic. Make it easy for yourself. Start with 1 habit. And if you do this over the course of a year, you will have created 12 new habits. And I think that's, so powerful and can create such a shift in your life. And the last thing that just came to mind is, the letting go of habits, and that I want to say a few things about that. When it comes to letting go of old habits, the easiest way is to replace it with a new habit. So it's easier to think about what you actually want to eat of healthy food and start doing that than just letting go of eating junk food. So when there's something that you actually want to stop doing, think about what you could do instead. What healthy habit you could create instead of the unhealthy one, for example. It also could be to breathe for 2 or 3 minutes every time you feel the urge to indulge in this old and unhealthy habit. And then most of the times this urge will be gone. Because as I said, many of our unhealthy habits are actually old routines, old ways to deal with mental stress, with fear, with anxiety, with anger, and all those things that tend to get less and less when we start to deepen our understanding about, as I said, what life is, what God is, and how the two of them are connected. So I'm happy to hear about your insights and what came to you, and share it with me, and we can go deeper into this whole world of habits and your whole life, because I really believe into that all those things are totally and deeply connected with each other, and that if you make progress in one area, this will have a ripple effect on other areas. So in this light, you can see habits and habit creation also as a great learning field for many, many other things in your life. And I'm excited for you to put the time and energy into creating this and into the new insights, the new wisdom that will come to you on this way.